Hello everybody on Instagram. I believe I'm live with you on Instagram now, just waiting to go live into Facebook. So if you can bear with me a moment and then we can get started. For those of you who've not heard me speak before, my name is Jo Parrott. I'm the founder of the Ladies Working Dog Group. We're going to do a little 10-15 minute session tonight, okay? And we're going to be talking all about how to not forget what you learn in your dog training sessions. Because I know for a lot of our group, this is something that they struggle with. So if you can hear me okay on Instagram, so can you give me some love, some likes, so I can see that you're on Instagram, okay? Same on Facebook, so before I get started, I can make sure that everything is running as it should be. I'm not super techy, so I'd like to make sure that everybody can hear. The first one of these I basically did to myself and to a screen, so it was very, very bizarre. I can see we're all fine on Instagram. Maggie, I always forget too, Maggie. Hi, Amanda. Instagram seems to be running fine. I can't see anything on Facebook a minute. I'll give it another couple of seconds and then we'll get started. If you are listening live on Facebook, if you could just give me some hearts or something so I can see them, and then we can go from there. It says it's live, so I think I'm just going to maybe have to trust it that it's all up and running. Hopefully. Anyway, okay, so let's get started. So we want to talk about what it's like when we are training and how we forget stuff, okay? So if I give you a little bit of a background to me, for those of you who haven't met me, in 2010 I was diagnosed with a brain tumour and I had a huge operation, 6-hour op. It left what they call brain fog, okay, which meant that sometimes it's very hard for me to recall information. I went through the operation again in 2017, and that was quite a big struggle again. I don't know if it made it any worse or better. I wouldn't remember either way. But yeah, so I had to go through it again, okay? So I struggle incredibly with remembering stuff. And I also, because of that, I tend to panic quite a lot when I'm in situations where I think it's really important that I need to remember it. So if you know what I'm on about with this, where you really want to do well at something, so well that you overly try to remember, do you know what I mean with that? You're really, really trying to focus on it. So because I was struggling quite a lot with everything, I needed to understand it a little bit more. And I had to look back at learning theory as a whole. So from when we're kids right through, how is it that we remember, okay? And how do we remember things that are important to us? And I think when we're dog training, not only are we trying to remember what it is we're trying to do, but we're also having to deal with the fact that the dog's doing something out there, aren't we? So we're a little bit like, oh my God, I'm trying to remember this stuff. Certainly as well, if you're with a trainer, you're desperately trying to remember that stuff. So you're trying to listen to the trainer, you're trying to watch the dog. There's a lot going on for you. And so it's a lot of high pressure, yeah? We're all agreeing with that. You're struggling quite a lot with what's going on in that situation. One of the things that I want to talk about is in an hour, in general, most of us forget 50% of the stuff. I think that's an approximation. Studies that are done by psychologists like the amazing Emma Liddell, who's our mindset coach. These studies show that you forget about 50% of stuff, which is quite a lot, isn't it, if you think about it? That's a massive amount of your hour to keep on forgetting, okay? And if we're trying to learn, we remember around 10% of what we read, which isn't very much at all. 20% of what we hear, which is a little bit more, but it's not loads more, but 90% of what we do. So it's really, really important for us, if we want to remember the stuff we do in our training, to be doing that training, but also to be reinforcing that learning. So if you're under a lot of stress and you're frantic, it really, really is worth taking time to stop for a moment. Even just stop and think, let's think about what I'm doing here. What are my movements here? What am I trying to remember here? And just to take a moment to tell your brain, this stuff is important to me. I don't want to just keep frantically going through the motions. I want you to think about what it is you're doing. So taking a moment just to breathe. And I know we hear that, oh, just breathe for a moment. You're yeah, I'm always breathing. But literally, this is breathing to learn, just slowing everything down to let your mind acknowledge stuff. Now, when I'm learning, I've had to find coping mechanisms, okay? So loads of you have seen the quick pad plan we do, which is you literally write out what you're going to go pull off the sheet, go out in the training field. Loads of you have seen our like magic month planner where you can write it all down. They all came from stuff where I had to remember what I was doing. I was writing stuff in notepads because I knew that if I didn't write them down as I was doing them, as I was going through them, then I would have no chance when I go home at remembering them. Now there's loads of things like for people who have not gone through brain tumour operations or any operations that are also affecting our memory. As you get older, you tend to get memory loss, brain fogs caused by things like, for lots of us over 40, you start to get them from your hormones changing. You can get them from high level stress in your body anyway. You can get it from a lack of sleep. So your brain really has problems remembering stuff. So all these things are going on in our heads and we are trying to fight across them. So when we are trying to remember, it's worth us going that extra step, if that makes sense. We've talked about stopping to breathe and just think about it, but also like writing something down, like writing in some of the books that I've shown you, or writing it even if it's a notepad or somewhere where you can go back and reflect. So for me, like for example, if I was on a training session now and somebody was talking to me, I've always got pen and paper, okay? And I write as they talk. And it's not because I'm like some super swot, it's because I'm writing, so I'm doing something, and because I'm doing, my memory can cope with it a lot more. It can remember loads more of what I write. If it's something that's really incredibly important to me, I will tend to come off the call or come out of a training or come off of a field and rewrite it again. And I think, I was thinking, oh my God, that's quite a lot, but I needed to do that. I also try to put things together. So we know the doing thing helps us loads. So for example, if we teach and sit, we're really lucky in gun dog training because the way it's set up, we have to do, it's not just like sit, it's not just a verbal command. For a lot of us, it's a hand, it's a sit. So the actual doing helps us remember what it is we're training. Does that make sense? If I still got you with this, if you find it easier with these things, can you like give me some likes and stuff so I understand that you're all still there? I have no idea on Facebook whether we are absolutely live or not, but we'll continue anyway. Also, when I like to reflect on stuff, I like to take notes. So this is a book, it's not a dog book, it's a book that I read. You'll see all these little things in the top. It's where they're important pages. I put little things. If you went through my books, you would be mortified. I highlight books, I write in books. I am like my daughter's worst nightmare because they like to keep their books lovely. I literally scribble all over them because it comes back to that thing of doing something. It's really good in your training when we say about using your hand signals and things. They were called associative techniques. So by doing one, you're associating something. So you can do this with other things, okay? You probably remember stuff in school that they taught you. I was taught beautiful with Betty Evans always uses thick ink for untidy letters. Yeah, we've all done that. So the teachers gave us something to remember something else. I can remember chanting them, yeah? So you can do that with your gun dog training. You can think of abbreviations that help you. So the 3Ds, we talked about that in our webinar. Distance, duration, distraction. If we work on those three things, helps us loads. If we use the 3 C's of a great dog trainer, they help us with that, yeah? All these things are really, really good for us. And I know sometimes we think, what can I make up for this? You can actually make up little stories and stuff. There are loads of things you can read about how do I improve my memory, because you can improve your memory. And some of the things you can do to improve your memory are the things that we all know, but we don't want to do. You can try to sleep a little bit more. You can try to meditate or de-stress. Most phones now have apps for meditation, right? And they can have a 1-minute meditation, and you're thinking, oh my God, I haven't got time to meditate. But that 1 minute before you go into a training session could incredibly help you remember what you learn, and that would be worth so much to you. Because how many of us think, oh my God, there is so much to remember and I just don't know where to remember this stuff. Some of the people that I see that do the best of this are the people, they've got notebooks, they've got pads, they take a moment, they stop their trainers and say, can you give me a sec, let me just write this down so that when I'm not with you, I can come back to this and look again. Our masterclasses are on videos for all our members, but we've also got a private audio where they're on there as well, so that we literally strip the audio off the masterclass video and we put it up so that anybody who's like driving the car can listen to it again. So it's not just the video that they've got going for them, where they've had to sit and watch for maybe 20 minutes. They can listen to that over and over and over. If you've got the Hot Mess Handler, you have a private Hot Mess Handler podcast platform as well. So if you have got that and you haven't got it, please let me know, and that will allow me to send you the link, so when you are driving, when you are walking, you can listen to all that amazing hours and hours of content absolutely free. It's an additional add-on. You should have it there for most of you. If you have got the Hot Mess Handler and you haven't got it, literally go check your spam, okay? Because it gets sent automatically by the system, and it should be there for you. If you are a society member, it is in your private podcast right at the bottom. Scroll all the way back to the beginning. It's there for you. So that's another way we want to make sure we reinforce the learning. So going forward, because I try to keep these really short, try to sleep more, try to relax a little bit more, try to have something to hand to help you write stuff down. Write out your notes and then write them again if you need to. If you are reading, mark it, write it, whatever you need to do for it. Like in the book that came out last week that I launched, there is exercises at the end. Those exercises are there for this reason. I want you to reflect on what you've read and take notes. There's also at the end of each chapter summary points. So if you're like, I don't have time to read this whole chapter again, read through the summary points. Remind yourself what it is that you want to learn from them, because I want you to learn as quick as you possibly can the content that's in there. I keep notes as I'm talking to you guys. Like sometimes you might see me glance and think, what's she looking at? Well, I'm looking at notes, because in order to do a fantastic session for you guys, I like to keep notes so I don't forget something that I think that is really important. The other thing, as I'm looking at my notes, is about teaching others. Now, teaching others can be an incredible way to learn. And I know you're probably thinking, hold on, I don't know what I'm doing myself yet before I try to teach you or teach somebody else. But even just explaining something in the groups, so whatever like groups you're in, whatever people you know with dogs, just talk to them about it. It's good to talk and put things right in your own mind. I was talking to LWDG group expert Samantha Thornycroft-Taylor yesterday, and I was saying something, and she said, but you could probably answer this, Jo, because you know this. And I was like, yeah, I sort of do, but I just didn't really want to put myself out there and say that. And she's like, yeah, but you know it, so put it down. So where you can see somebody else, just put it out there and just say, this could be an idea. If you never know how to lead with something, this could be an idea. Have you thought about this? That way it doesn't come across in like an opinionated way or as if you know it all type way, but it's just something. And whilst you're telling them and explaining it to them, you will understand it more. And if you're thinking, okay, well, I just don't really want to help somebody else, explain it to somebody else, like literally. Grab a family member, a friend, and say, right, I'm going to explain to you now how I do a recall. Will you listen to me, please? Or I'm going to go through all the different parts of a retrieve. Would you just listen to me and see if you now understand what a retrieve means? Because that will help you reinforce your learning. Thank you to the lovely person who sent me stars. I don't even know what I do with them, but I do appreciate them. I'll work it out after the call. But yeah, so take notes. Organise summaries, help yourself, try to look after yourself a bit more, that's standard, try to teach others, and just give yourself time as well, have patience with it. You are going to need to go things over and over and over and over. It takes approximately 10,000 hours on one topic to become an expert. So think what that looks like. Think of how long people give themselves to go through university, how many hours. So don't come into dog training and think, oh, I've got to get it all nailed straight away. You really don't. Take your time, be patient with yourself. It will work out better for you in the end. Okay, I'm going to love you all and leave you. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for being with me on Instagram. Thank you for being with me on Facebook. This will be the last one of these I'll do before Christmas, because my husband has an operation on Thursday on his knee, only a small operation, and we're pretty good at doing the operation thing now. So if you are wanting to become a member with a group, we close on Wednesday. No more new members. Doors close on Wednesday. Won't be reopening until sometime next year. And if you want any help, any advice, anything like that, just drop a message. I'll answer you as quickly as I can. But hopefully you will all have a fantastic Christmas, a wonderful New Year, and we should probably see you in January, February with some more of these quick little lives that we hope are helping everybody. That's all for now. Good night, all, and I shall end it on Instagram first. Sorry about my finger, guys. Good night. and I shall stop it on Facebook too. I'm not very good at stopping these, so I'll work it out in a moment. Thank you all for listening to me, and I shall see you all in the new year. Good night.